that has come up about The Rock and the final boss, whether it was January on Netflix, whether it was whatever, is this idea that where is he going? Is he the guy who's going for Cody the night after WrestleMania? Is he this? All of a sudden tonight, I feel like one of the things that made this moment so significant was that everything got tied together from John Cena's promo in the press conference. It wasn't even a promo after the Royal Rumble to you showing up at Bad Blood, which at some point people said that meant nothing, but the same throat slit we got tonight. How long, for lack of a better term, has this been cooking?
It meant something, and you said a word. It's long, and that's what it is. I'm a long gamer, and I like long gaming, and I like creating with Paul and with Brian Gewirtz and Maya Lasry, who's on my side of the team, and I like creating with Paul and his team as well. We're long gamers, and so what a lot thought of Bad Blood when it was a pay-per-view that The Rock attended, and I just did a very small, subtle thing. There was a lot of criticism, like, oh, it didn't mean anything. Well, it did. It's okay. It's okay if you're not thinking about it now, but just trust me when I tell you, we are thinking about this stuff and long gaming this, and I love that. Same thing last week. Same thing when we opened up with Netflix in L.A., where I came out as the director of the board and welcomed everybody and welcomed the Netflix executives. I thank Cody Rhodes for carrying this company in such a tremendous way on his shoulders. I gave him dap. I gave him a big hug. Well, I knew this night was coming. So
this is why in this channel I always tell you, and I always say, look, we may have we're going to give our opinion on something, but we always preface it with what we want to see what the conclusion looks like before we judge it. I talked about how the Netflix premiere, I enjoyed it, but it was a little bit disappointing. It just, to me, it just didn't feel like it delivered the way I wanted it to. I was upset with what seemed like The Rock maybe not being at WrestleMania and, just various other things. It was a little bit upsetting. And as this has gone on, so, just 2025, it's been kind of disappointment in terms of you go on social media and you hear people talking about how the storyline between Rock and Cody and all this stuff isn't making sense. And we talked about it on this channel, right? We said, look, I don't know what's going on here. But I also brought up, you got to let him finish it. You have to. And so this should be a lesson for everyone. Doesn't mean you can't criticize. It doesn't mean you can't say, I don't like this part yet. I don't like this part, or I don't think this is going to be good. But hold your opinion and be open-minded until after it's done. So let's say we saw this pay-per-view and nothing really came of this. And The Rock, let's say this happened and The Rock didn't even show up, wasn't even at WrestleMania, nothing came of it. Then you criticize it like, what the hell was that? Didn't make any sense. But until that happens, until we see the conclusion of it, let's not criticize. Because, now I think a lot of people who were sending out tweets and all these other things about, it doesn't make any sense. WWE's screwing this up and The Rock just put himself in there. And they look a little bit silly, and like I said, on the Netflix premiere, I was like, I didn't love this. I didn't. And I understand Rock saying we're playing the long game. I would still push back in a sense and say you built the Netflix premiere so much and you didn't really deliver. Like, had he said what he said at the Elimination Chamber, or not at the Elimination Chamber, on SmackDown the other night, had he said that at the Netflix premiere, would have been completely different. Would have been completely different, right? It would have been like you're building to something. I get it. I see it. And so the conclusion's great, but I understood why people were like, I don't know if I love this, because you can't build up the Netflix premiere and then say, well, we were playing the long game. That's why we didn't deliver on that promise. But overall, let The Rock cook, let Triple H cook, and let this all happen. So thank you all for watching.